So my name's Masha Staub, and I went to the IB school in Berlin, Germany, the Nelson Mandela School. I went there, what's here considered junior year. I was in 12th grade though. And I went because my mom had a year of sabbatical. And so we moved over to Berlin, and we were looking for an option where I could continue my education in English. So I didn't get a place in the Kennedy School, so we ended up looking at the IB school, the Nelson Mandela School.
Mm-hmm. And what were some of the courses you took?
I took economics SL, I took math HL, physics SL, chemistry SL, English HL, and German B HL. So HL meaning higher level and SL meaning standard level. We had to take 3 of each class. So I decided to go a bit more towards the science fields, and then, yeah.
And what did you enjoy most about your IB experience?
It was a very, very different curriculum. Like, I have been going to the American school since kindergarten. And when I first came to Germany and I was in this program, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I mean, that was very apparent. My first physics test, I got a 12%. So it was pretty bad, but it was once I actually learned to it was a lot more about, we are giving you this information and we want you to see what you can get from that, how you can figure out how that's going to relate. And I always had a lot of trouble with remembering little tiny details, and this was a lot more theory based and a lot more what do you actually know? So for me, it was something that I excelled in a lot more, and I was really happy with that.
And what did you find challenging about IB?
Again, I think it was you had to know what you were doing. You couldn't study the night before the test and get away with it. When I had a math test, we didn't have them often, but I was studying 2 weeks in advance, because you just had to make sure that you actually knew everything that you would learn in class. And so for a lot of people, I think in the US, especially, I never really studied except for the night before. So shifting that sort of attitude was, for me, very difficult.
And since this is to help families here understand what an IB education is about, why should a family or a student here who wants a challenging curriculum consider the IB program?
Well, they don't expect you to be able to get 100%. In IB, if you get over, I think it was 65% on most tests, you qualify for an A. Because I think with the IB, what they really want is, they don't want you to be able to get it perfect, to have every little detail memorized. They want to actually see, they want to put into real life. And so it's a lot more of this concept of, I don't know how to phrase it. What can you actually do with this? How can you use it? So.
Well, when you look back at your year of IB education, what do you feel you benefited from as a student?
I got a lot of studying habits, definitely. But also we did a lot of just group work. So if we're talking about other than the learning how to think differently, as I should say, but we did a lot of group work. So also kind of combining people's strengths to figure out. When I remember in math, we always did group work. We never had individual work, because individually we wouldn't get very far. So it was a lot of collaboration. It was learning to find another way to do a problem. So there was never just one way to do something, and really learning how to find those paths, how to, what to know to look for, okay, I went from this angle, how can I look at it from this angle? So just really changing how you're thinking about it. I think that was really important.
Do you feel that group collaboration distinguished the IB education compared to a more typical class here?
Yeah, I mean, currently in my math class we are doing some group work, but I think that's also the teacher. It was a lot more, I mean, because everybody has different strengths. Like, I'm a lot more with theory, like I can connect things very well. I had a friend, she was very like detail. She remembered what every little equation could do, and so we worked very well together because we had like strengths that played on each other. So I think group work was very important, and yeah, so.
Is there anything else about the IB education, any aspect of it that you'd like to say here that could help families decide if this is right for their child?
I mean, I think it's, as you said, it's important for people who want a challenge. If you are someone who really enjoys school, who enjoys like finding the, like you really enjoy coming to class and like working on these like challenging problems, or like finding how it connects to your real life. I mean, I think then you should also be looking at IB. If you're someone who's not as interested in school, like is better at the memorization, then maybe not as much. Like, I think it depends also what kind of learning style you're most comfortable with.
So given that it depends on the learning style, who would you say, what kind of student would you say that the IB program is the right choice for?
I don't, I know when I've talked with teachers about this, they asked if it was only top tier students, and I don't think that's true at all, because like I know for me, I did well in IB, but I've had troubles here because of the fact that I'm not very detail oriented. So I think it's more for people, if you are actually interested in learning, if you are like interested in challenging yourself, then you should be interested in IB. So it was, you don't necessarily need to be in that top tier. I think it's just like your attitude towards learning.
That's great. That's great.
So if you could do it all over again, if State College was offering IB, would you be an IB student, and why?
I would, I think, if I knew a bit more what I was getting into. Like, I was a bit ambushed into it, and I like fell very deep and had to kind of crawl back up. So I feel like if I had time to think about it and prepare, I would, because I had just difficulty also like learning about what exactly I needed to do. But yeah, I think I would definitely do IB. It was I mean, I also had very amazing teachers over at Berlin, but and I know some of the teachers who are teaching here, and I know they're going to be great too. But yeah, I think I would.
Did it change the way you saw yourself as a learner, and if so, in what way?
Can I bash the American system for a little bit? So as I said, I grew up in the US, but I've had a lot of problems with people. I mean, I have a very I'm a very goofy personality. And so I've had a lot of problems with people taking my work seriously. And so I feel like also because of the fact that in the US they want this sort of focused student, they want someone who like works hard, is quiet, does their work, and that wasn't me. I had trouble focusing in class. So when I went over to the IB and they wanted collaboration, they wanted you talking more, I mean, got a lot more confident as a person, which I mean has helped me a lot this year. So I mean, I think that's really important when we're looking at it.
And a related question, do you think that some of that confidence that you built up through the IB program, some of the other skills, how do you think that will help you in your future plans?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's just believing in myself. Like I've always been recommended for the lower class here, like since pretty early on. And it's always been a bit like, should I really be in these classes? Like I'm currently in BC Calc, but I've been recommended for lower math every year. And last year when I was taking math, she couldn't believe, because I was one of her best students, that I'd ever been recommended for a lower math class. And so definitely I think it's really like believing in myself when I'm applying to colleges. I'm going bigger and I'm saying, I know I can do this. I fit like I'm a smart person, I love a challenge, like I work hard, I should be ambitious there. So